Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to fan modeling part 10. So finally we reached UV unwrapping part. The model is optimized. We got everything named for baking. And yeah, so let's UV unwrap only the fan low. Before we start, I'm going to tell you that this video is going to be split into two parts. First one being more friendly to beginners and how UV unwrapping works for beginners, and then just simply explaining and UV unwrapping. And then the second part is going to be for more experienced people or like intermediate people who know how the process is done, but they want to get better, faster at it, more efficient. And we're going to use two add-ons for that one as well: UV Packmaster 3 and then UV squares. So yeah, if you want, you can just skip the second part of the video and just leave it at like halfway point. You'll see there are timestamps. You can just hover on YouTube player and you're going to see where it starts, where it finishes. Okay, so now just quickly I'll just run you through the process of UV unwrapping. So basically you take this cube and let's imagine that okay, actually let me just do this. I'll split the view, go into UV editor, and let me just create some kind of an image, or we can just go ahead and just, okay, give me a second. I'll just do some random screenshot of this view. Okay, like that. So basically I'm just importing some kind of image inside of the Blender. Okay, now if we just go back to this view, there we go. So okay, so you see here's an image in the background. Now in order to see it properly on this cube right here, we need to somehow cut this cube into parts so that we could lay it so that it's flat like this. You see? On the left side you can see all these faces are being just laid so that they are flat like this. And we basically need to determine where cuts are going to be. In this case, this is a cube. If we select everything, it's already, that's its default state. But if we start cutting, so let's just select one edge, press Ctrl E, and then just basically press mark seam. That's basically, imagine if you take scissors and you just make a cut right here. Now of course you won't be able to just like unfold this with one cut, so let's just make two more cuts somewhere in here. Again, mark seam. If you want, you can just select it, press Ctrl E and clear seam as well. And now it's become a tradition. I need to I always forget to enable scribe so I can see what I'm clicking. Okay, so now this piece right here, you can just basically take it. If I just do something like this, you can just basically take it and just like unfold it like this, because these parts, they were cut, right? These parts were cut right here. So you can just basically take it and kind of just unfold this piece, lay it on the ground. Of course, let's just imagine that this is the ground and this wouldn't be twisted, so like this basically. Now we got one piece, it's laid out. Okay, then where else do we need to make a cut? Okay, let's just think. So we could make here two cuts, right? And then just this piece, open it up. Oh, and actually these two, if we just go further. And then just Ctrl E and mark seam. And then again, I'm just going to do this quickly. And then again, you just take these two parts and you just unfold them like this. You see, because now they were cut. You just unfold this part. And then you can do the same thing with the bottom part as well. You just basically take it. Now these parts, now you cut here and then here. And you just basically go ahead and just, oh, I need to select these ones, select these ones. And then just basically you can just do it like this. And of course in real life this would just twist together, so you would just lay it like this. So you see, now you just made 2 cuts in here and you were able to open these up, and now all of a sudden you got these few pieces left and you can just go ahead and just put them on the ground like that, like that. Now, and now that's it, boom. Now all of a sudden you got this shape. Now if we look at the left side of this, look at the shape. Well, it's rotated, okay, we can just rotate it. You see? Well, the dimensions, they are a little bit different, but you see it's the same exact shape. So now we can just go ahead and overlay this on top of some kind of image. So if I just went ahead and added some kind of material to this, let me just go ahead and maybe split the screen in here and then go into shader editor. And then just basically attach this image to this and go into this view. By the way, if you don't see this menu, you just middle mouse click and just move your mouse to the left or right. That's how you navigate menus if they are smaller. And then you just enable this view. And now, well, you still need to do something. Now you are going to get a mess. So after you think you unwrapped it, well, you wouldn't need to really lay it flat like this. This is just a demonstration. You just press U and unwrap. And now all of a sudden you just get these faces. And you see, if you just take one face, let's just select face mode, right here, face mode. By the way, be careful, because if you move here with vertex select mode, then if you move one, sometimes you'll get other ones that will move, so it's better if you're moving something in here, do it in face mode. And now if you want, so this piece right here is this one, so you can just maybe overlay this, and this is basically the button right here. You see it? It's just basically, let's just imagine that this is like a button. That's what we want to get. Just like get here a button. Okay, then for this one, we can just get here the fan like this. Well, it's rotated, so we can just rotate. Now we got here a fan. And also if you select this sync selection, you are going to see everything that we selected. So if we select this and then go here into edit mode, and then if you have this unselected, you will only see in this UV view only the selected faces. But if you select this UV sync selection, then you're going to see all the faces that are in edit mode. So if you, for example, select these few parts right here, and then this, and then go into edit mode, you're going to see everything in here that exists in here. But in this case, we just need to select this, go into its edit mode, and then, so yeah, this is useful sometimes, so that's just an option. But yeah, as I was saying, basically, that's the process. Now, if we would be doing this in Blender, and that's what we are going to be doing right now, you just basically get this cube and you don't really flatten it like I showed you before. You do it in this view. So let's get started. So that's just a simple cube. Let's just UV unwrap that so you can understand the basics, and then we can just carry on. So basically, let's make a cut in here, here, and then here, here, and then here. Just Control E, mark seam. Okay, so now just imagine in your head, you can unfold this piece right here. You can unfold this one like this up. Then you can unfold this one. Okay, what else can you do? Well, it won't be really, you won't be able to unfold these three right here. It's just a corner. But let's see what happens if you try and unwrap it right now, as it is right now. So just U and unwrap. You see, you get something like this. And Blender is trying its best to straighten this area right here. Like I said before, you see, these are these exact same three faces right here. And these three as well. These three. Blender is trying its best to straighten it, but it just cannot do it. Like imagine if you just try putting this triangle basically on the piece of paper, it's really difficult to do it. It's impossible to do it without making one cut. So we're just basically missing a cut. Now we are making these seams and clearing them, But then after each seam, let's say we make here one seam and then just mark seam, you won't see here change. So you need to go ahead and press A to select everything, U, and unwrap it again. Now you see all of a sudden this is straight. Only bad area is this one, because now this can unfold. Now the only bad area is this one, these three faces. But it's a little bit annoying to keep on clicking like after each seam, just press A and U and unwrap. It's annoying, so there is an option. There is this option of live unwrap. You just go ahead and enable that, and now every time you add seam, not sharp. Don't get confused with these. These are mark sharp and clear sharp. It's these mark seam and clear seam. Look at this. It's going to automatically basically unwrap it for us. So just mark seam and boom, you see it automatically unwrapped it. And now basically that's it. So we got our model on this side. It's not straight in here, but if we look on the left side, now all of a sudden all those faces are straight. Now okay, so let's take some more complicated model. Let's say I'll just go a little bit back before it was fully good, somewhere in here. And now okay, so what if you're not sure, like is there stretching? I'm not sure if there is. Well, you later train your eye, you can start seeing it, but not all the time. There is an actually tool which shows you if there is a stretch or if there is no stretch, and that's what I got confused with live unwrap before. So if you go into your UV panel right here, and if you click on this arrow, you see here an option of display stretch. If you enable it, now blue, this dark blue means that it's absolutely good. There is zero stretch on it. Now more towards red, it goes basically blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So red being the worst, like it's insane stretch, you're going to get huge distortions. And here you see now it's green, so we need to fix this area. So we can fix it again by just simply cutting here with scissors. Let's just imagine mark seam, boom, now it's all blue. Okay, so that's just basically UV unwrapping. Okay, so now to UV unwrap this, just go ahead and select all these low poly meshes and just go into edit mode so that we could see everything. And now you see we got a lot of stretching and stuff in here, just a huge mess. So what we will do is simplify the process a little bit, because you could just go ahead and do each part manually. You can do that if you want, but it just takes too much time, and usually if it's not sub-D model for the most part, you can get away with it. So, and like anyways, usually it's good to do this, what I'm about to do right now. So just select all the objects and then press select and select sharp edges. Basically, very often you're going to place seams where there is like 90-degree turn, and that's going to be very often. Now let's just select this again, select sharp edges, and if you click here at the bottom, you see here sharpness. Right now it's picking up a little bit too much. I don't really want it to pick up this right here, so I'm just going to increase it. Now you see it stops picking up this area. Now I'm not a huge fan of it picking up this thing right here, though maybe it can pick it up. Okay, yeah, maybe it's fine. Okay, so yeah, I just increased it a little bit. Now I saw here some stuff, so just basically check and make sure that all the sharp corners, they are marked, they are selected. And it's around something like this. Usually it's going to be around like 30%. And now just go ahead and mark seam, all of those. Boom. Now we got this unwrapped on the left side immediately. And okay, let's just now see and tackle some parts. So something like this, you can press L to select it to see which part it is, and then you can just go ahead and press Control I and then H. and then you're basically going to hide everything else. And this part, it has some stretching. Okay, so we can immediately see that we need some seams in here. It's not possible really for it to straighten, like you couldn't straighten this corner. So we just select these corners, Control E, mark seam, and then boom, look, everything is blue. Okay, now they became really big. That's fine, we're just going to ignore them for now. So Alt H to unhide everything, and let's search for other parts. Okay, so this one, L to select it, Control I, H, and let's see. Okay, so yeah, this, it doesn't really have sharp edges, that's why it never really marked stuff. Right, so sometimes these bevels can start to get to be a little bit annoying, so for that you can just disable it from view. Just click it and disable it. Okay, so now let's just see. So first cut should be made maybe here, and we could just straighten the whole left side. So let's just do it, just mark seam. And then let's see, how do we approach this? Maybe we don't have that much stretch on this part. Let's just see. Okay, to be honest, this is fine. It's most of it is blue. Now in real life you wouldn't really be able to straighten this perfectly, but it's still not that bad. And the thing is that we want to place seams on corners where they would be in real life, or we want to actually place them in places which will be mostly hidden, because you'll see what I'm talking about. You will see some seams right here where textures meet. Just basically all you need to know is that when you are placing seams, do as few as possible, make this as good as possible, as blue as possible, and add seams where they would really be in real life, realistically. Let's maybe think that this, when this was manufactured or something like this, this is just like two plastics were connected in this area, and that's where you add the seam. Now it isn't really important because there is triplanar projection, but you really should be doing it still anyways, because it gives you more flexibility later on. So yeah, and then the other thing is add the seams in hidden areas. So if we just Alt H, adding it somewhere in here on these sharp corners won't, usually sharp corners are safe, don't worry about them, sharp corners are usually safe. And then try adding seams somewhere at the bottom, somewhere like here, where it won't be really visible. Well, this model it's not that simple, it's a bit complex in some parts, in some areas, and so it's kind of hard for me to find good example of where I would prefer placing seam, but you get the idea. Anyways, here, so this has some stretching. Let's see which part it is. Okay, so it's this part. Okay, so for this part, again, it's the same thing. We could start, let me isolate it. We could start maybe adding seams here and separating it. Maybe we do need that. We don't see green, which is fine. We see blue, so there will be a little bit stretching right here. But okay, if you really want, you could add seams somewhere in here. But then this whole thing, it's going to be a basically fence, almost like a fence in here. So it's better to just keep it clean. Don't really disturb this, because it's just going to be a nice looking fan, basically fence, some kind of grid. So let's just not disturb it. And then again, right now, you see these are two parts. So if you just hover here, press L, and then select seam, you're just going to select area which is isolated by seams. So in this case, it would just be this area right here. Now let me just go back into this mode actually. It would just be this area right here. You see? So now, right now, these two parts, they can actually be connected. That's what I'm saying. And now, I think we're getting into the other part. So right now, everything is pretty much blue. Well, we see some... Okay, maybe we can just fix this really quickly still. Yeah, so like this. On these circles like this, put a seam on the bottom right here to straighten it. Let's just unhide this. Let's see what else do we got. Do we see some more stuff that needs to be done? So this circle right here, just seam at the bottom. So that's what I was talking about. Don't really put it in a very visible place right here. Put it somewhere at the bottom where it's going to be maximally hidden. Yeah, so these circles, like everywhere, you can just add seams everywhere to split them. And that's what you should do. Just add those seams. I'm not sure where is this piece. Okay, so right now, maybe somewhere here where, well, it's visible everywhere. So I just put it right here. What is this part? Let's see here. Okay, this part. Again, at the bottom, mark seam. Alt H to unhide it. Now we see here a lot of rings like that. Let's see, where are they? Okay, they are kind of straight, so it's actually just fine. Yeah, it's fine, it's not too stretched. Yeah, so you usually want to add these things for like cylinders, like this. This is a cylinder right here. So it's not going to have a good result, you see? You see what's going on in here. So just add one seam, and now it's beautiful. Alt H, okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, yep. Where else do we have cylinder? We got one in here, I think. Okay, we already got here. Markings, yeah, okay. So this, let's just hide this at the bottom here, that's fine. Okay, that's fine actually. Okay, so now for the most part everything is blue. Now we need to somehow fit all these parts in this square, and we want to do it as best as possible. We don't want to leave areas like this without anything, and we don't want to overlap stuff like this. This would be overlapped, two islands overlapped. We don't want to do this, and we want to minimize empty space like this as much as possible. Let's see this part right here. And I see here, let's just add here a seam again. Okay, you can fiddle around with this, fix all the small details. It again comes down to how this asset will be, how much it will be visible, how well you want it to be. Of course, it will take more time. Okay. So yeah, that's good. And now this step, we want to, like I said, fit everything in this space. Okay, now we are going to use PBR workflow when texturing this stuff, and we are going to be using right now 2048 by 2048. So that's going to be our texture basically. And if you don't know what PBR is, we will later get into this a little bit, but there is a really good tutorial. It's by CG Cookie, Specular versus Metalness workflow for PBR shading in Blender. And then just like Google it, look it up on YouTube or something like that. You'll find tutorials. I just don't really want to waste my time and yours too much, because there are already very good tutorials on that topic. But anyways, so for now you need to know that this space right here, this is our texture size, and we need to fit all those parts like I described previously. Okay, so to do that, we need to select everything, press U, and just unwrap one more time. Now this is going to make sure that we don't have overlaps anywhere. We don't have overlaps. But so Blender's original texture packer, it's not that good. That's why it's way better to use UV Packmaster. UV Packmaster. This add-on right here, UV Packmaster 3. I can show you basically how it works and what we are going to need and how we're going to do it with it. But yeah, so Blender's default one just pretty much sucks. That's all I can tell you. Now, before we do that and before we pack it completely fully, there is one more small step. Now, when we added all those seams, we added some unnecessary ones which aren't needed. So if we remove them, we are going to make it optimized even more usually. So something like this seam, just Control E and just clear it. You don't really need it here. Like if we just press L and we just isolate this, and if you look at this, right now it cannot really be unwrapped because there is no cut right here. So let's just mark seam at the bottom. And now, I mean, you can just flatten this piece, because you just imagine like you just take from this part right here. This is cut right here at the bottom. This is cut right here at the bottom. So you just basically start just opening it, and you open it the whole way around. So there is really no need for us to have this one in the middle. Okay, now let's just see. Maybe we got some other ones which aren't really needed. And now this part, it's getting a little bit more complicated, but that's how you unwrap stuff. So I'll upload later tutorials of how to do it, explaining it better. But for now, something like this. Like, why in the hell you would need to have this? Okay, let me just do this and isolate it for you. Like, why in the hell would you cut here, 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 everywhere? You don't need to make that many cuts. In this case, just go ahead, clear all those, make one cut at the bottom, mark seam, cut all the way around here. That's it. You just take this line right here and you just straighten like this. And then you take this piece right here and you just basically put it on here, in here, on the table. That's it. So you don't need that many cuts right there. Yeah, okay. So let me see here. You don't need this. Okay, yeah, you do. It's a different part. Never mind. Now, just so that it's more clear, I'm going to just continue and loop here around. Then just press L and select seam. Just making sure that I unwrapped everything here as a different part. And now for these, you don't really want to have them in here, because it's a front, it's quite visible area. So just clear seams, add them to the back. Okay, it turns out that we actually already have them in the back right here. So that's fine. Let me just select it, maybe normal, select, check the bottom, make sure that the face is deleted. Yep, everything is fine. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Now this part looks a bit concerning. Way too much stretching going on right here. So just let me just isolate it, and let me just, okay, so that's basically the auto sharp that does dirt in here. So just go ahead and select these things. Let's just make haircuts, and then haircut, and one more in here. The same thing on the other side. That's it. And then just mark seam. Boom. Now everything is blue. Everything is unwrapped nicely. Good. Okay. Alt H. Yeah, and this process, it's not like there's step 1, step 2. You just keep on doing them, mixing those methods, and then you will eventually just unwrap everything nicely. Okay, so yeah, again, let me just unwrap. Okay, that's looking better. However, you might sometimes get something like this. Like, why the hell is this whole space empty? Well, it's because of this thing right here. If you get very long lines like this, you usually need to split them. You can do that simply in here, or you can actually even select them in here in this view and just press Control E and just mark seam. Now Alt H, A, U, unwrap. Now you see it fills the whole thing right here. Now it's a complicated subject, and there are ways of optimizing it differently. Of course, we could straighten this. There's a way to straighten stuff as much as possible, make them into like straight lines like this here, just straight thing. I'm not really going to get into that. I'm just maybe going to mark some seams in here. Yep, let's just mark seam in here. Wait, what's going on here? Why is it not working? L, let's just see. H, okay. Okay, it's this piece. Let's just mark it seam right here. Okay, that's good. Alt H, A, U, unwrap. Good. Okay, so then this part right here, maybe let's just see which part it is. Okay, so right here we definitely need some cut in here, so let's just cut it right here. And then again it's going to be very long, so let's just make a cut in the front as well. Just split it up like this. And then here as well, just select the whole thing. And that's pretty much good. Alt H, A, U, unwrap. Okay, now we're talking. We pretty much unwrapped this whole thing. Now about packing. Now let me see, do I actually have UV Packmaster in here? No, I don't. Well, in this case, if you don't have the add-on, well, that's how far you're going to get. Blender has gotten a little bit better. Try to actually remove circles like this. You're going to get better bake, better placement and stuff. So yeah, just go ahead and just mark seam in here. Take even a cut, a knife tool, make a cut in here, and do this. Another cut, and yeah, okay. Because Blender default packer, it doesn't really put anything inside of the circle, which is not really ideal at all. But yeah, I mean, just go ahead and split all those rings in here. And then it would be nice to straighten them. Okay, but I don't have the add-on in here as well. So basically, there are two add-ons. UV Packmaster, you just basically get better packs with it, and then UV Squares. What that add-on does is basically straightens everything, so you can get a better pack. Now, if you got this far, you can leave it at that, but later consider actually getting those add-ons because they save a lot of time when you straighten them. There are ways of manually doing this and straightening these things. You can just look them up on the internet. Later I'll make a tutorial about that, but for now it's just too much time will be wasted. Okay, so let me just save the Blender file. Don't forget to do that as well. Okay, so the only one thing that I forgot to mention is that before you do the final pack, you need to go to UVs and just average island scale, and then U and unwrap. That's what you need to do. Okay, that wraps up the basic section. You can end it here if you don't have add-ons, and you're just basically going to get worse texture resolution, and that's it. But now if you do have add-ons and if you are more experienced, this part is for you. So here we go. Boom. Okay, so I switched to a different Blender version, and I have here UV Squares and UV Packmaster 3. Now, let's get started. First of all, we are going to use UV Squares, and we're going to straighten some stuff. Now, before we continue, I think we also need to fix this area right here. We for sure don't need that many cuts in here. You can just go ahead and simply select all that stuff, Control E, and clear seams. Clear this one as well, random seam, and then add seam at the bottom. Like this. Okay, and then one more random seam. Okay, boom. So now it's unwrapped. That's fine. Alt H, and yeah, that's that. So we unwrap that thing, and now let's see. find all the circles and just mark seam, all of them. You don't want to have circles anywhere, and we're going to just basically straighten them. Yep, that's fine. Well, we can do it like that as well. And with this one, let's see here. Yeah, okay, now be aware. Okay, these two. Okay, now be aware that if you actually want to use UV squares and straighten stuff, you can use it only on quads. It has to be quads only. So in this case, let me just select here mesh and deselect this thing right here. That's what you need to do in order for it to work. You need to have this deselected. Then you just basically hover your mouse and press L on things which you want to straighten. So these two, and just basically press to grid by shape. Boom, straight. Now it's going to, this process is going to reduce a good amount of empty space. So boom, this thing, boom. And yeah, it gets a little bit lighter blue color, but that's fine. That much stretching is worth. It's basically invisible, but you're going to get way better pack. This thing, boom, to grid by shape. This thing right here, boom, fine. Okay, let's see here. And this thing as well. That's fine. Okay, now that's what I'm talking. It looks like you have quads in here, but be careful, because it turns out that we don't have quads in here. You see, we have like here, it's a huge addon in here. It's not a quad. So I can show you what happens if you do that. Also, I forgot to mention how face selection mode when you're selecting stuff. So look what happens. Boom. Nothing. It just, I know, just weird stuff happens. Okay, now that's it with UV squares. Now you select everything, the same thing, UV and average island scale, and then N, and then UV packmaster, and basically now it's all about increasing the texel density. Texel density basically means that what percentage of this space is covered by our blue thingies, islands in here. The higher the number, the better. Of course, we want 100% of it to be covered so that we have no waste. That's well, it can be possible, but not with this mesh. It's impossible for this fan. So you just select everything. Again, make sure that you average island scales. And now there are additional things how you can optimize it, but it's not really worth it, because it's not worth time-wise. You're going to invest a lot of time, and you're going to get a just small increase in resolution, which doesn't really matter. So basically follow these settings. 2000 precision, heuristic search, enable, make it 10 seconds, and that's it. Make sure that everything is selected, press back. And now you're going to see here new result area. That's what matters, this number right here. This result, this is texel density. Now everything that's above 7.3 or like 7, something like that, is considered good. Of course, if you get 8 to 9, that's even better, that's wonderful, it's like incredible. But you need to spend a lot of time. So we got one which is close to 8, and that's very good. If you want, you can still fiddle around, make some new cuts, remove some cuts, try to just pack it even better and get a better result. This will do for me. It's around 80% used. By the way, that exactly same number, it's like a percentage. 1 being 100% and 0. Almost 8, like in our case, it's like 80% of the texture space used, which is really good. And that's basically it. You have successfully unwrapped it. Yeah. Now this is actually called texture atlas, because you have multiple objects right here and they are sharing one UV right here. They're sharing one UV. But yeah, that's called UV atlas. That's basically just optimization thing, and just don't worry about it. It's again another topic for another time. Okay, so that's it. Now if you just open it up, make sure that you don't have anything that's overlapping. That meaning that stuff is, two islands are just like this, colliding. Make sure that everything has its own clean space. Now there is a way how you can optimize some stuff by overlapping, but we're not going to get into that, and in this case we could possibly, I guess, optimize this area. Maybe we can do that actually. We can basically overlap these two things right here, and it's not going to make that much of a difference, to be honest. But yeah, that would change, that would optimize the whole thing. But I don't really want to get into this, overcomplicate things. But yeah, it is possible to just, because this is this piece of the fan and this is this piece, and it's going to be grid in here, simple grid right here. So it doesn't really matter if it shares the same grid. You won't be really able to tell that. So you can just overlap them, even by hand actually. Like this. But then you would have to unpack it, I mean just repack everything back again. Yeah, and you might get some issues while baking, so, and it's just again overcomplicates stuff. So let's just ignore this part for now. So yeah, boom, this is your fan. That's it. The UV unwrapping part is done. I hope you got this far. In the next episode we're going to be baking normal maps. I'll probably show you how to do it with Marmoset toolbag, the best baking software, and then Substance Painter as well. And then of course we're going to do the texturing and materials in Substance Painter. So yeah, okay. If you enjoy the videos, you can just drop a like, subscribe, and then if you want, leave a comment, ask something if you're not sure about something. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. See ya, guys.